the sports you do and don't know, both within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no, stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
There was a column that came out that raised questions about, I guess, increasing your work habits. Do you want to be here? All that kind of stuff. Do you have a response to that?
I heard I'll be playing the game at like 1 or 2 in the morning. I don't even do that during the summer, so I don't know where that comes from either. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know where that comes from.
Yeah, Lamar, they said that you're falling asleep at meetings. How would you respond to that?
Do you think Harbaugh let me fall asleep in his meeting? That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm right in the front. Like, man, I don't know, man. It is what it is, though. Like I said, it's just noise. Football.
Fans do ask, like,
Does Lamar want to be here? Is he where he wants to be? What
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I don't even know where that come from.
Right.
Probably because, some people think they're just waiting for you to sign a contract and get something done with the team.
But we got to focus on winning right now. So contract talk can be after the season or whatever, but during the season, I'm locked in.
Lamar, does this feel?
There you go. That's Lamar Jackson yesterday. The first time he spoke to the media since that column that Mike Preston put out, that even Mike has walked away. I was kind of being defensive of Mike a little bit and saying, hey, this didn't deserve the breath that it got. It was not, he probably knew the attention it was going to get, but that's not his fault. That's a media literacy issue that we have in this country, that we don't realize when something's just a dumb opinion and not actual reporting. And Mike Preston had it. We all have dumb opinions. Stan and I are going to have 20 dumb opinions today. Griffin's going to have 100.
No, I'll have
15. We all have dumb opinions.
Excuse me? I've never reached 20 in
You don't
one
think?
show.
You don't think?
No.
We all have dumb opinions. Mike had a really dumb opinion. And that's okay. He's allowed to. We all allowed to have dumb opinions. It's not really Mike Preston's fault that the country then took and ran with that and made it something that it absolutely was not. That's a media literacy issue that we have. Now, Mike has since gone back and been well, I never said the Ravens should trade Lamar Jackson. Nah, bro. It's right there in the column. Yeah, you can't run away from that part.
Was his stuff opinion?
Yeah, it was opinion.
Those kind of things like that he falls asleep in meetings, they seem like, how would he know unless somebody told him?
Well, there's a couple of issues that come with that.
Yeah.
Everybody that knows the Ravens aren't planting anything with Mike Preston.
Right.
That was one of the mistakes that was made last week. And even Florio today is still, because all the people from outside here say, well, that's the big paper. But
right.
The Baltimore Ravens are not planting anything.
With Mike
anything.
Right.
With Mike Preston.
They're more likely to plant it with you.
I don't know that it's more likely. I think it's equally likely at this point. That's just not something that's occurring at this point. And I would tell you, they're not doing it with with anyone from the Baltimore Sun at this point, or anyone from the Baltimore Banner, or they're not doing that. There's this. Somewhere in between these things is the truth. Lamar Jackson says, do you really think that John Harbaugh would let me fall asleep in meetings? This is what I believe to be true. At some point in his career, Lamar Jackson has fallen asleep in a team meeting. You know why I think that? Because every football player ever has fallen asleep in a team meeting. Because these guys are asked to come into work.
Benny Thompson never.
I'm going to bet you that if you text Benny Thompson right now, he's going to tell you.
No, don't besmirch
He's going to tell you, you know what, Stan? Yeah, at some point I fell asleep in a team meeting. The problem was, throwing that in there. It's a nothing. It's a zero. Right. If he was doing it regularly, then that would be a major problem. If Lamar Jackson was checked out and didn't care about the team or trying to win, that would be a huge story. But Mike didn't say that. And yet it was run with as if that was what he had said. There's somewhere where there's truth. Lamar Jackson says, I don't stay up playing video games. Well, as has been pointed out by some, we knew that during the pandemic, his gamer tag was online at a late hour playing video games. Is that a big deal? It was 5 freaking years ago. Like, why is this is the problem with this. Is some of it on Mike? Yeah, probably. Like, you got to know the way that something's going to, if you say this, it's going to go a certain way.
I smell a Coleman thing here. That he did it to get
just
more
to get
clicks,
more attention. I wouldn't be stunned by that at all. Wouldn't be stunned by that at all. But ultimately, did any of it matter? It outside of the people that believe that the Ravens planted that with Mike Preston in order to try to set up that they want to move on from Lamar Jackson, there was no reason to think that any of that mattered. And those of us that know that they didn't do that. It was a giant nothing that was given a ton of breath because Lamar Jackson's an incredibly polarizing figure for some insane reason. That's the part that I'll never understand, is why Lamar Jackson is polarizing. All the guy's ever done is win. I get it, other than a Super Bowl. He hasn't done that. Hopefully it'll come.
Or an AFC title game, you know.
And by that you mean he's not played in a...
Well, he hasn't won an AFC championship. Yeah.
Oh, an AFC, sorry.
Yeah,
I got you.
yes.
I got you. All right. So there's what Lamar Jackson had to say yesterday. And look, undoubtedly, like, the contract thing is something that they're going to have to deal with, although it is also still complicated because there's this belief that the Ravens have to get a contract extension done with Lamar this offseason, but other people would say they might not have to do that. They might be able to just shift some of the money without giving him an extension that would bring down the cap figure, so it's not the big deal that everyone thinks that it might be.
What's the cap figure right now supposed to be?
It would be 75
million.
Which,
That's
again,
a lot.
It's a huge hit. Like, it's absolutely a huge hit. Ironically, this is the time where they actually have cap space. They're going to be rolling over some cap space from this year to next year, perhaps in part to give themselves a buffer for whatever they end up doing with Lamar. But that's a more complicated conversation than the way we make it out to be. All of that to say, the important part is the part where Lamar Jackson's playing a football game this Sunday. Yes. Right now, all of the other stuff, this is where he's right. That can be dealt with later. That really isn't relevant today. Today, the relevant part is they've got to play the Steelers on Sunday night. And
the weather forecast, by the way, in Pittsburgh during the day on Sunday. Oh, wait a minute. That's today. Hold on.
That's not going to work. They're not playing the game today.
Sunday is the 4th.
To my knowledge.
It's going to be 21 degrees at
night.
It's not bad.
An 8% chance of precipitation.
It's gonna be
nippy.
Gonna be cold. What about wind? What do you got for winds?
I don't have wind here.
The hell?
For some reason.
The hell is going on?
It's terrible weather.
The hell kind of weather?
It's not windy right now. So
you know what? The CBS people are right. This is why we got to fix the news. This is why we got to stop going to experts and start just asking dumb people on the street what their opinion is about the subject.
That's why it's brilliant what you do with Griffin.
That's what. I
what's
think I'm ahead of the curve.
What's the weather out?
Yeah, that's a great point, Griffin. Give me a weather report.
Pretty cold.
Right, but what about on Sunday?
Oh, right now it's cold and cloudy.
Right, but on
it's not windy today.
But on Sunday, will there be any wind?
Do you want the actual answer?
Go ahead.
Winds light and variable.
Light and variable.
During the day.
What does that mean, by the way? How can they be both light and variable? It feels like it's kind of got to be one or the other.
4 miles per hour, it's saying.
All right, well, that sounds like light then, not really variable necessarily.
Which I guess they're trying to cover their ass and say, but it could be, maybe it could
it's
be
something else
15 mile per
altogether.
hour gust. Who knows?
Or maybe they're saying from variable directions. Maybe it could be swirling winds and not just all coming from the east or
light
something
variable
like that.
winds.
Anyway, right.
Low is 22 degrees this day.
So that's what's going on, and that's what Lamar Jackson had to say yesterday as Griffin was about to put up on the screen. Again, the important part this week has been the injury report and the fact that Lamar Jackson has been practicing. The only concerning thing I see on the injury report is that, like, we're not really talking about how Kyle Van Noy hasn't been practicing this week. That kind of came out of nowhere. And when you see him not practice for a day, you're inclined to say, well, he's a veteran. Like, that's what they do with veterans, is they regularly give these guys a day off of practice. In fact, DeAndre Hopkins had one earlier in the week. But then when he doesn't practice again on Thursday, you start to think to yourself, that's a bit more concerning. So we'll see what the story is. Kyle Van Noy certainly at this point in his career is someone that could not practice. Really, he could not practice all week and still be allowed to play. But if he doesn't practice all week, it would make you think he's probably not going to be available on Sunday. Rashad Bateman still hasn't practiced. That's an illness. I would assume that means probably the flu. I think we all know that's like 4 days and then you're good. So hopefully that's the case.
The nighttime temperature, according to AccuWeather, which I'm going to
now, is AccuWeather a better source because it's literally
because it's got the wind.
And it also says it's short
NFL
but
weather
accurate weather. That's
accurate
what,
weather.
Correct.
Okay. 20 degrees at night. Real feels 17. Winds south-southwest 5 miles per hour. Probability of thunderstorms 0. Probability of precipitation 0. Wind gusts may reach 8 miles per hour. 81%
I guess if there
chance
was
of cloud cover.
I guess if there was ever a night that you would want to be wearing a flak jacket, it's probably that night. That's probably a pretty good night to have a little extra. Does that limit Lamar Jackson and what he's going to be doing as far as running the ball is concerned? That's a question that we have been asking for some time related to all sorts of injuries. We're just adding on one more element to that question. And I think most of us would say we think probably yes. That would be further limiting. But if he can throw the ball, which was apparently the issue last week, is he didn't feel like he could throw the ball. If he could throw the ball, then hopefully he looks good on Sunday night, and it all is a factor going into Ravens-Steelers. Today's show is brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel, the best place to watch all of the big events. You know, we're getting close to the start of the Olympics. And Live Casino and Hotel.
I can hardly contain myself.
I don't know if that's the way that we describe it while in the middle of the read. I feel like maybe.
I'm serious.
I don't want to tell you how to run the business, Stan. I know that you're the one who founded
I can hardly contain myself. Why did you think I was...
What's your favorite event, Stan?
Yeah. What are you when we see you at Sports and Social inside Live Casino and Hotel? It's going to be because you'll be watching the curling, right? Like that's what you're going to be there for.
What's the one where they ski with the gun on their back?
Biathlon.
Yes,
of course.
that's the one.
Is this the summer games?
No, this is the winter games.
Oh, it's the winter
I don't think they would play the summer games in just a couple of weeks. It feels aggressive.
Good.
But yeah,
I was talking about the summer games.
Oh, that's the one. You're a big. Everybody knows Stan's a
love
big
winter
winter games.
They got hockey.
They do have hockey, 100%. I just saw that
skiing.
With Tom Wilson from the Capitals will be at the Olympics.
Lindsey
But I think
Vonn.
he's Canadian, right? He's not American.
Yeah, Tom is.
Lindsey Vonn.
Yes, she's back. She's still
Scarlett
doing.
Johansson.
I don't think she's going to compete. I know she's been doing
she's
some
in-
great
she's in
commercials.
the
I know, but I
commercials.
don't think she's going to compete at the Olympics.
That's
I guess
disappointing.
we'll have to stay tuned to find out, right? But watch all of it. I don't know what just happened here. Watch all of it inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel. The great 100-foot media wall, wonderful food and drink specials, and so much more at Sports and Social. Stan, we're going to be joined by Bo just here in a few minutes, but I will pose to you the question that I think has been the bigger topic for everyone in Baltimore this week that we'll also pose to Bo. Do you think the result of Sunday night's game will be what determines the fate of John Harbaugh moving forward?
Do I think that?
Yes.
No, I do not.
You do not think that because?
Because I think Steve Bisciotti runs the organization, and I think that's a non-starter at this point.
You think that no matter what, John Harbaugh's back next year?
Yes. I do not believe that his coordinators will be back next year.
Well, I certainly don't think they'll both be back for sure. This is an interesting, that there's no, because I had someone, a league source this week, posed me the question of, are we sure that John wants to be back? And I said, are you telling me something or are you asking me a question?
That's a different story.
And I don't know what the answer to that is, because I don't think we have any I have not seen any reporting that would suggest that John would want to be somewhere else. I don't know why he would. Why would this deep in your career, again, unless you thought that you were about to be fired, and Stan thinks that that's a non-starter. That's never going to happen. So unless you think that.
I'd say it'll never happen. It exists with one person making the decision. I don't think, and that's one of the things that I think is a real problem with this team. I think there's a dysfunction when your general manager probably can't even broach that subject,
Oh, it's definitely not his call to make. There's no question about that.
Can he even broach the subject? I think it's like a total non-starter. And I think at this point in time, John, in my opinion, had a very good front of his career.
Mm-hmm.
And despite the fact he's had a 2-time MVP who should have won it a third time, most likely, he's been unable to take the team even deep into the playoffs, ever. So I think it's at least worthy of conversation at the top of the castle, and I don't think it's even been broached.
It's an interesting, has it been broached? Is anyone walked in and said, guys, should we be thinking about whether or not it's time? And part of the reason why you would say maybe it's not been broached is because how involved is Steve Bisciotti really with the team for it to be broached?
It's his opinion. In my opinion, he's made it very clear in his opinion he knows that John Harbaugh, if he let him go, would be gobbled up immediately. There's no question about it.
It's it's funny. It's been so long since we've heard from Steve Bisciotti that I don't even
just know that I remember that was the sentiment I got about 6 or 7 years ago when it briefly came up. That is it time to move on from him, and I was told they're very nervous about looking bad by him immediately getting hired and pulling like an Andy Reid somewhere else.
So I this is part of the issue that I have is that I've said a million times, I don't think John Harbaugh is being fired because the Ravens just don't fire anybody. They don't do it. They've, between general manager and head coach in 30 years, they've had 2 firings ever, and one was kind of Ted Marchibroda was not here to be the coach for very long.
Right.
He was here to be the coach.
He was a caretaker.
Yes, he was here to transition them. They've really had one actual, decision firing that's ever been made. One in 30 years. So I just work under the assumption that it's not going to happen because they don't do it. It's just not in their DNA. But that is an interesting.
Well, they clearly nudged Ozzie Newsome. It was not handled as a firing.
It definitely, and Ozzie would tell you, definitely wasn't a firing.
Right.
Ozzie was not unhappy at that point because
but I think he was told. It's time. We're making this move.
I think Ozzie was involved with that.
Okay.
I think Ozzie was involved with that because it's the same thing. Ozzie could have just chosen to be a general manager. He would have absolutely been in the moment that Ozzie Newsome is available. Any team in football would say, yeah, by all means.
Well, Steve was going to make sure that he didn't leave, unless it was the Alabama athletic director's job.
Something like that, right.
Which he might be interested in now.
And they might need a coach. What's that?
Harbaugh.
They're not getting
John
rid of him.
Harbaugh.
I don't know, man. Everybody was trying to run him out. Everybody was trying to run him out to Michigan.
This is what happens every time an SEC coach loses. They get fired and they have it.
They're not used to. They are not used to
State.
losing 4 games at Alabama. They are not used to that. That is a.
They are not. One thing they are not used to is being undressed the way they were.
Yes,
undressed.
correct.
Yes.
That is all. That part also does.
You know,
matter.
people are trying to
Doesn't
fire
happen.
Is it Heupel after
Heupel.
Tennessee lost a bowl game?
But that's a different conversation. Tennessee has no reason to think that they should be competing at that level. That's just pipe dream. Alabama has reason to believe that they had built a program that was sustainable post their coach, right? Like that they had built something. They
got a big win last week, over Oklahoma.
They won a game.
Yeah.
Did I read a headline late last night? Sometimes late at night I see a headline and then don't read the story until the next day.
This is the media literacy thing you're talking about.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Did the coach say that they're this close to greatness?
I mean, I don't know. I didn't see that, but that sounds like something you would say.
They were that close to. They were only 5 touchdowns off from a semifinals appearance.
You talk about a coach. This guy Cignetti is just unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
It's the greatest coaching job that's ever been done, arguing in the history of coaching, not just in college football. I mean, like in the history of coaching. Right. We've never seen anything like this. There is no
you would
comparison.
Say he's done a better job at Indiana than John Harbaugh has done the last.
I mean, it's close. It's real close, Stan. It's real close between the two. I mean, it's truly insane. It's utterly and completely
really
insane what he's done. It's also kind of insane that they're the only team. There's now been 8 teams that had byes in the playoffs over 2 years. There's one that's won the game. The teams that had byes are 1-7 now. And I get that some of that's a little bit goofy. Like they let the Big 12 champion both years have a bye, despite the fact that we kind of all know the Big 12 isn't really a power conference anymore. So like, there's nothing surprising to me about the fact that Texas Tech kind of got throttled and throttled's unfair. They didn't score a point, but they didn't lose by 50. They were actually a little bit more competitive than Alabama was. But I'm not surprised the Texas Tech lost because I don't really think they were one of the 4 best teams in the country. I just think they played in the Big 12 and a year ago. But still, it is kind of crazy that even the power conference teams that are getting byes, Georgia got a bye, Ohio State got a bye. Like, that is kind of – a year ago, Oregon got a bye. It is kind of crazy that the bye is not working out. It's sort of like the conversation that we had about the baseball playoffs and whether or not it was a disadvantage to be sitting around for a week. And we were watching the teams that were playing in the wild card series have a lot of success early on. And I don't know what that means for truncating the calendar. I think that's what a lot of people are going to use to defend when they try to come for the Army-Navy date next year, say we can't force these teams to just sit around and wait and not play for a month in between games because it's hurting them. So we'll see, but it is wild. Ravens-Steelers Sunday night in Pittsburgh. Joining us now. It could be his last ride. This could be it on Sunday night. He is PressBox Ravens beat writer Bo Smolka, and he is with us once again here on GCR. Bo, it's Glenn. Stan is here. Appreciate you taking the time for us as always, and Happy New Year to you, sir.
You as well. Thanks.
Bo, I guess we'll start with the Lamar Jackson of it all. He was I actually thought he was kind of funny yesterday. He wasn't even really defensive. He was just like, I don't know, man. I don't know what to make of any of this. And I know you and I talked about it over the weekend. I think that it was wildly overblown, and there was nothing in there that warranted the breath that it was given. I assume that none of it matters. They're just going to go play a football game on Sunday, and that's the end of it. Does any of that matter moving into the offseason and what we believe will be negotiations for an extension for Lamar Jackson?
I mean, I think probably not. I think, the extension negotiations are going to have to happen. I mean, I know people say, well, they could trade him. Will all this, be a part of any kind of discussions? I agree with you. I don't think so. As I said, I think to you last week, I mean, the issue right now is they need to go 1-0, and they need to go 1-0 or else. And, and just full disclosure, I just got back last night. I was away. Although I wasn't in practice yesterday or the day before. But I did hear Lamar speak yesterday, and but I think he's at a place where I don't think this is a thing that's going to weigh on him or affect him. I think he was kind of right in his approach when he was asked about it, and I much ado about nothing. It's hard to say that because it clearly became an issue to the extent it's a distraction. I don't think that it is. I'll say the bigger distraction to me is the fact, or the bigger factor to me is the fact that the Steelers have contained Lamar Jackson for the most part in his career. I mean, he hasn't particularly played well against them over his career. Now, he has more recently, but, McTomlin's had his match for Lamar Jackson more often than not, and I think that's going to be an interesting thing to follow. But clearly the Ravens have to be optimistic that Jackson's got a full practice week for the first time in almost 2 months, and I think they feel they're in a good spot. I mean, I really think this Ravens team feels, I think there's a touch of kind of angriness about them. Like, we shouldn't be here. We shouldn't be in this position, but they are, and they know it. And it feels like they've been given a second chance to make it right. By winning at Green Bay, it's all here. And if you had told them in August, you're going to go to Pittsburgh with a chance to win the division, yeah, I think they would have taken it. It's just been a strange trip to get to this point. But I think they feel they have something to prove, which they clearly do. And I think it's a highly motivated team going to Pittsburgh.
Well, I wanted to ask you another really hard-hitting question about another sort of something that could be upsetting in the locker room there. The fact that you're leaving the beat after this season. How is that a distraction to the team, Bo?
Yeah, I'm not sure anyone really is going to be distracted or bothered by that one.
I thought it was the other. I thought it was that it was going to be galvanizing like Ray Lewis. Like, I thought that was what it was going to be.
I'm not sure they're winning one for the Gipper over there for me. So we'll see.
All right.
Bo, you bring up that Lamar has, obviously this year regular season game aside, but like last year, the late regular season game, the playoff game, obviously went much better for Lamar Jackson against the Steelers, but that coincides with obviously a commitment to running the football. And while we can all kind of giggle about what happened against the Patriots and then the Ravens suddenly saying, maybe we'll give it to Derrick Henry 500 times the next time out, it does seem like, as oversimplified as it seems, it really does seem like at this point, why should we think or expect, or why would they do anything other than come into this game, even with Lamar Jackson back, with any other strategy than hand the ball to Derrick Henry and then hand the ball to Derrick Henry again, and then maybe after that hand the ball to Derrick Henry again?
I mean, that would be the approach if, and this is a big if Derrick Henry's getting more than a yard or no yards on first down. And they were able to do that against the Packers. They were gashing the Packers almost every time he ran the ball. And that's not always been the case against Pittsburgh. And I think over the course of the year, one of the problems has been when they've had tried to run Derrick Henry, too often they've been staring at 2nd and 9 or 3rd and 8. And now they're not running the ball to Derrick Henry. And so how you approach it, or how the offensive line can win on first down, and or whether the Steelers win on first down in the run game, I think it's going to have a huge impact on how the game goes. Yeah, this time of year, like I said, the Derrick Henry thing against New England to me will always be indefensible. That they had a 3-point lead in the fourth quarter at home in a game they had to win and didn't give the ball to Derrick Henry in that one drive. There's no way you can rationalize it, and then in my mind, they'll never be able to rationalize it. But having said all that, and now being here where we are, to me the key is Derrick Henry gaining 1 yard on first down, or is he gaining 6? And that's going to dictate how much they can run him. And conversely, or by extension, that's going to dictate what happens with their passing game. So I think being able to run the ball on first down, on second down, is going to be so important to what they want to do.
Bo, the point spread in this game, and we don't often talk point spreads with you, is 3.5. The Ravens are 3.5-point favorite. So if you factor in the home field advantage being 3 points, doesn't this seem a little high to you in terms of this particular rivalry?
I mean, yeah, and I don't gamble. I don't pay much attention to sports. But yeah, it does. And I think there's a feeling that the Steelers are, maybe running out of gas. I don't know. I can only explain that. But I'll say this. I also thought, and Jameson Hensley and I were walking out of Green Bay last Sunday or Saturday night, and I said, you watch. Don't be surprised if Cleveland beats Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh plays horribly in Cleveland historically, and sure enough, they did again. And I think a lot of people are putting that game on, maybe the point spread. I think the fact that DK Metcalf isn't playing is a huge
factor.
thing.
Yeah.
And so that is certainly going to be part of it. I mean, DK Metcalf was a big, big problem for the Ravens when they played last time. Him not being available, I think, is going to be a big factor. So that probably plays into the spread as well. I mean, but again, to your point, the Ravens have to go up and win at Pittsburgh, which isn't easy to do. John Harbaugh historically has been a very good road coach in big games, but we've also seen them have some really bad meltdowns in big games. So the point spread itself, it did surprise me, I guess, as you said. If you also factor in a couple points for the home team by default, you're looking at, 5.5, some people think. So that seems high to me. Yeah, that definitely seems high to me, especially since, I'll say this, they still, I know Boswell's had a couple misses here lately, but it comes down to kicking. I like Boswell at home.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if the other guy, unfortunately, just because we haven't seen it, I have no idea if Tyler Loop could make a 53-yard field goal with a game on the line in Pittsburgh. We've never seen him do something like that.
Hey Bo, question about the Metcalf thing. Is this going to usher in, whether it's the teams that do it, that they have some type of security person behind their bench that would sort of be a reminder to the player, like, get the F back, I mean, that was really quite jarring to watch an NFL player in the middle of a game be that distracted by something, that somebody's yelling in the stands.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think they already have a lot of that in place. They have those safe people between the stadium and between the seats and the benches. They're already all lined up there. But they,
I mean, that was crazy that happened. I mean, it's really crazy.
No, it was, and those, those seats are always that close. Not always, but often those seats are relatively close to the bench area.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are team personnel floating around that bench area all game already. And at some point, the players just have to have
a little bit of control. Yeah.
Right. And so, I wondered too whether whether it would be some sort of, you don't want them to be any kind of like hockey boards put up or something.
Right,
it would be a divider. You shouldn't have to have anything like that. It ultimately comes down to the players having some control and fans having some control. But I'd be curious to see if there's any fallout on the logistical level around the league. But like I said, teams already have a lot of people down in the bench area, and the stadium ops already have a lot of people down along the sideline to kind of prevent stuff like that, and ultimately, I guess you can't control every person every minute.
Bo Smolka, PressBox Ravens beat writer, with us here on GCR. Bo, I guess my concern, and I think that you bring up that obviously the Steelers are not the same without DK Metcalf, but nothing about what the Ravens did in Green Bay on Saturday night made me comfortable about where they are defensively, and I would say it's almost the exact opposite of that. They were gifted some turnovers. They otherwise didn't get a stop, right? And ironically, the Packers didn't punt in the entire game. Now, they probably should have on that insane 4th and 1 where they decided to run a play out of shotgun, which is just mind-blowing to me that teams keep doing that. But they kind of had their way still with the Ravens defense, and it's almost more concerning because Nate Wiggins was one of the players early in the year that we thought was coming on, and he was undressed in Green Bay on Saturday night. I guess my question is, do I have any reason to think that the Ravens defense is up to the task if they're not able to go and score points at will against the Steelers offense or Steelers defense?
I mean, it's a good point for everything, all the kind of optimism coming out of that game plan offensively and the way Tyler Huntley played and the way Derrick Henry played. That game was close because they couldn't stop them. And that was also with the Packers backup quarterback in play. And, I thought Nate Wiggins, he really struggled in that game, and that was surprising because I thought he's been – when you look at this team, especially when they had the losing record for a long time, and we would sit around and say, well, which players are playing better this year than they did last year? And it wasn't a long list, but I thought Nate Wiggins was one of them. But then he did not have a good game. There's no question about it. You have to hope that he'll be better than that this week. I expect that he will be, and I do think the lack of Metcalf changes how the Steelers can approach the game. remember, the last time they played the Steelers, the talk all week leading up to the game was the Steelers don't throw deep. Aaron Rodgers doesn't throw deep anymore. And then the first play of the game, he went 50 yards downfield on a dime to Metcalf. And so that part of the game, at least to Metcalf specifically, won't be there. But yeah, the defense the defense was a problem in that game, and Nate Wiggins did not have a good game. There's no way you can get around that. The passer still has to become a factor. They have to be able to get, and I know Rodgers is going to get the ball out quickly, but you have to be somewhat disruptive, and then you got to cover. And but it's not encouraging how that game went in Green Bay, but I have to think Nate Wiggins specifically is going to be a much better player this week than he was last week. Over the course of the year, we've seen him be better, and I think we'll see better from him Sunday.
The Ben Cleveland era of Baltimore Ravens football finally comes to an end yesterday, Bo. What a kind of bizarre story this dude's tenure in Baltimore proved to be.
It's true. It's true. I mean, a third-round pick, I think they had plans for him at one point, and then ultimately he could never win a job. And I think this year was probably the biggest indictment because, as I think a lot of people saw, you had guard play that was really struggling, and people were screaming they wanted Ben Cleveland. And at some point, you had John Harbaugh saying it in so many words. Well, the reason that Faalele and Voorhees are playing is they're the best two guys, and indirectly saying, well, Ben Cleveland's not better than either of those two guys. And so whatever they thought they were going to get from him as a former third-round pick and the prospect of him becoming something, it just never transpired. They brought him back on a one-year deal this year, I think honestly they thought he was just kind of a relatively cheap option to have as a look, and it never worked out. So we'll see what happens with him in the future. He'll probably, offensive lineman, teams need offensive linemen. I suspect he'll surface somewhere, whether as a starter or somewhere else, but it has been a strange kind of nondescript career for a guy that they came in with, third-round picks. Don't always pan out, but they often do, and this one didn't.
No, I still think he might still be a better option than who the Chargers are rolling out there at this point.
He belongs in Cleveland.
There you go. Yeah. That could end up being.
Hey, Bo, I've got to ask you the 8,000-pound elephant question in the room. The coaching staff. It's my opinion. Glenn asked me at the beginning of the show whether I thought John Harbaugh was in any danger of losing his job. I still don't think he is, but your thoughts on that and the two coordinators?
Well, my thoughts on that are, I think if John Harbaugh it doesn't coach this team next year, it will be because John Harbaugh chooses not to.
Yeah.
I don't think that – but remember, he just signed a 3-year contract extension that starts this coming season. So his extension hasn't even begun yet. So however the buyout language would be in a contract like that, Bisciotti would have to pay certainly a lot of money to him to not coach and then go hire a new coach. And Bisciotti has all the money he needs to do whatever he wants.
Right.
But, I don't know if that will come into play. Bisciotti likes him. I think Bisciotti sees him as a guy that can consistently win games here. The question is, does John Harbaugh feel he needs to step away and take a break, or does he feel like it's time to reset himself? For whatever reason. I think as I said, I think if John Harbaugh's not the coach here next year, it'll be John Harbaugh's choice. And now, if he comes out and says, "Oh, John Harbaugh's resigning as a head coach," I think there'll be plenty of people that think Bisciotti pushed him out. I personally think it would be Harbaugh's decision. If John does return as the head coach, I think it's very possible that Bisciotti might say, "Hey, we need to change some things here." I mean, and I would not expect that you run it back with a full staff exactly as it is and say this was working and this was good enough. So if John does return, I would think one or both coordinators probably would not return, and there would be other staff turnover as well. The danger is always you change both coordinators at once, and then how much growing pain does that involve? But I would expect there will be, even if John is back, I would expect there will be some fairly significant coaching turnover. But I will also say that will not placate a lot of fans who will say, wait a minute, he's been through now, 6, 7 offensive coordinators, and it's always the same things every year. It's We don't run the ball at the right times. We blah 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 blah. So there will definitely be fans not happy about that if that's how it plays out. But as I said, if John leaves, I think it'll be on John's accord.
At B Smolka, that's how you follow him. You read his stuff at PressBoxOnline.com. Bo, no matter what, we will definitely talk to you next week. We'll see how many more there are. Always appreciate you, my friend. Let's talk soon.
All right, Glenn. Thanks, Stan. Take care.
Thank you, Glenn.
Bo Smolka. Yeah. Well, you can thank me too. Thank me too.
If we make the playoffs, which game do you think will slot in?
That's been something that people have been talking about a little bit too, because the Ravens have played.
If it's the Texans, it's the Saturday 4 o'clock.
Right.
Game.
Well, no, I think everybody is convinced that this will finally be the year the Texans do not have the Saturday 4:30 game. I think everybody's very convinced that the NFC South champion will get the first playoff game of the weekend.
What was the Monday night game last year? I felt like because the 1 year was.
It does feel like the NFC South has been in that Monday night playoff for a little while.
Wasn't it the Philly? Who played Monday night? Tampa. Last year?
I'm pretty sure the NFC South champion, actually the last couple of years, has had that game. There's a few things that are going on. Like the Ravens have been now on NBC. They'll be on NBC this week. They were on Peacock the week before. They were on NBC the week before that.
Okay.
So there's this concept that the Ravens, whatever it is, it won't be the NBC game. But apparently the league leaves flexibility for which networks can have which time window.
Right.
It is way more complicated than
Do you think they'll play on Sunday, or you just don't have any idea?
I would say right now I don't. The only game they try to leave that they always kind of make that first Saturday game the most nondescript game of the weekend.
Right.
Because it's the time where people might still be out doing something. Right. It's the worst television window of the weekend.
Is the Saturday night game a big?
The Saturday night game is usually a pretty good but they're all after that.
The Monday night game was Rams-Vikings last year.
It's Rams-Vikings last year. And
that was the 4-5 of the NFC.
Okay. Yeah. So it was 4-5 to start the weekend and 4-5. So somebody would argue, well, then it could be the Ravens in the 4:30, but it would be the Ravens. And at this point, that's part of the problem is we don't know who the 5 is going to be. Because I do think the 5 matters in this conversation. And someone could say, hey, maybe they do think that I guess Texans Ravens is pretty nondescript.
Right. And
so they could throw that in at 4:30 on Saturday.
Okay.
They could.
I still think Lamar's too big a draw.
That's the sense that I've gotten is that people don't think the Ravens around the league. They don't think the Ravens will be put in the 4:30 Saturday game. This was relevant to me because someone asked me to work a game this week, and I was like, well, I don't even know if they're going to be in the playoffs, but if they are, I've got to make sure that and so I started asking around to people that I know around the league, and they were like, yeah, I think you're safe. I don't think they're going to be playing in that 4:30 window.
They could have stopped. I don't think they're going to be playing.
They could have stopped there, right? And that would have helped. That would have given me some sort of answer. I said, okay, well, is that who's playing? They're like, we're pretty sure that's going to be the NFC South champion. And I was like, all right then. So we'll see. Maybe.
Do we know which network gets which time slot?
That's also it's so funny you say that.
Thing.
There is nothing set at all about they leave as much.
Do you think they'll let people know an hour before the games?
On
I
Saturday? I think once everything is. I think this Sunday.
No, I think
they'll say, and I think they'll say it before. I don't think they'll wait till after the game because again, it's only which of the two AFC, whether it's the Ravens and the Steelers. I think they'll try maybe at halftime to put out the schedule for the weekend, just leaving room. Now, it's possible they wait till after the game because that's what they do, obviously, for Week 18 is they wait until after the Sunday night game. But considering the only thing that's left is, at that point, which one of the two teams is the 4 seed, I don't know that it's a dramatic difference. Right. Hey, if it's Pittsburgh, we definitely put them. If it's Aaron Rodgers or Lamar Jackson, I don't – if one of them –
So you think this could be the Sunday night game then?
I don't – Griff, you're asking me a lot of questions. I don't know.
Historically, does the Monday night game get a sizable audience?
Yeah, because it's still Monday Night Football. Yeah. I mean, Monday Night Football always does well. That's why.
I just have a feeling the Ravens are going to play on Monday night.
So are we locking the Texans in as the 5 seed then? Since the Chargers and the...
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be the Chargers.
And the Bills
it's looking more like the Bills are leaning towards. I don't know if you saw that. It's bad for your picks. It's looking more like Josh Allen's not going to play at all on Sunday.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, not great.
Son of a bitch.
It's looking more and more like that.
I got to count on Mitch Trubisky.
That's your guy.
I love Mitch.
Yeah.
Well, they are playing the
I
Jets.
call him
Yeah.
bitch. I call him bitch.
Mitch the bitch.
No,
That was
bitch.
No,
Trubisky.
remember he
Bitch
famously
Trubisky.
changed his name to Mitchell so that no one could say Mitch the bitch.
Mitchell. Well, we
I
just
don't
call
know
him
if
Mitchell.
I don't actually know if that's true. If that's just internet folklore.
He'd
That like we
be-
accept
he'd
it
be
as
a
true.
great- He'd be a great Mitchell, wouldn't he?
Me?
What are you
Instead of
saying?
Griffin.
What are you
Why
saying about him?
Mitchell
You
Bass.
settle down over there.
What is Mitchell's first
Mitchell
name?
Bass.
You settle
Mitchell
down
Bass.
over there.
That's just a term of
Not
endearment.
Mitch,
You're
not
saying?
Mitch the bitch. Mitchell Bass.
Mitch Bass.
That'd be- yeah.
All right.
No, Mitchell.
Here's
Mitchell.
definitively.
I strictly go by Mitchell.
The Sunday night game will definitely be on NBC. The Monday night game will definitely be on ESPN. Everything else is they could
So
they
it could
could
be two Fox games on Saturday and then one CBS game Sunday.
It
or
is
two. I don't know.
There are I don't.
It's 2, 3, 1. Yeah.
Are any of
Fox gets 2 games.
Okay.
So Fox gets 2 games. So presumably they'll get the Saturday night game.
Right.
Or maybe Amazon gets the Saturday night game
And
and
the Sunday
Fox gets the
four-
Saturday afternoon
So
game.
CBS
And
gets one
Sunday
game?
they'll
Yeah.
get the 4
one of the 2
4:30.
afternoon games.
Yeah.
But the two CBS gets 1 game, so presumably that's Sunday afternoon. Presumably CBS and Fox get the Sunday afternoon games.
Who has the Super Bowl this year?
I'm really doing too much here. The answer is we don't know. We
Right.
don't know.
NBC has the
yes,
Super Bowl?
NBC is the
Okay.
Super Bowl. They try to line it up so they get it during their Olympic years, so that they can.
It's nice of them to do that.
Plug the Olympics
That's-
because they're so
The
exciting.
Olympics start the next day, I guess. Right?
I think
Or
they,
they
we can
they
see
might
more
already
of
be
Lindsey
underway.
Vonn. Lindsey Vonn.
Wasn't it last? I feel like the last time they had the Olympics, it was under. They sent Tarico to wherever. I don't
he
even
called
remember
the Super Bowl
Pyeongchang.
from
No,
Korea?
and then after the, you don't remember the after
I
the
don't
Super
remember.
Bowl,
This was
they had him hosting the Olympics from the field. I believe it was the Los Angeles Super Bowl, if I remember correctly. Double
Yeah,
check
22. Yeah, that'd be the Bengals.
They had him on the field hosting their Olympics programming. Not in a studio, not at the Olympics,
at the Super Bowl.
on the field
At SoFi.
at the Super Bowl.
I didn't remember that.
It was the height of I like Tarico, don't get me wrong, but you couldn't have asked somebody to fill in that. Like you couldn't have said,
Maybe Jason Garrett could have done it that day.
yeah, maybe
Jack
not,
Collinsworth
maybe-
probably.
Yeah, I don't know. Those wouldn't be my top choice.
I got to bring this up. You and I talked about it off the
Paul
air.
Burmeister could do that.
Yesterday, the Rose Bowl. Before the game, what's
Oh,
the
yeah,
name of the
you're-
host? What's
Reese Davis.
Reese Davis.
Mm-hmm.
They had Coach Saban.
Mm-hmm.
They had Joey Porter.
Joey Galloway.
Joey Galloway.
Yes.
Joey Galloway. I
Yeah.
can't believe
It's all
I
right.
said that.
It's all right.
Joey Galloway.
Yeah, we don't like
and-
Joey Porter.
And Desmond Howard, right?
Yes.
And they made their picks of the game. So at halftime, Alabama's getting beat pretty well. What was the score at halftime?
17-0, I think.
17-0?
Yeah, something like
yeah,
that.
it was 17-0. I turned it on to see what Coach Saban has to say. Never heard from him again. He made his pick. He picked Alabama before the game. What's the point of having him on the pregame and not on the?
The halftime shows for all of them were not. Well, I guess maybe the first game since they were
I
everyone was still at the Rose
understand
Bowl, so they
and
had.
Glenn pointed it out to me. They do the band thing, but
Well, for the Georgia Ole Miss game, they did nothing. They did like 90 seconds. It was the like
Well, they
the NBA
also
Finals
load those up
halftime
with
show.
commercials. That is part of the
Okay.
they load them up with commercials. The Rose Bowl does not allow you to do as much of that. Like the Rose Bowl is kind of like the Masters, where
They should all be like
we
the Masters,
control.
then.
we
certain-
get to control certain aspects, so you don't get to do as much of that in the Rose Bowl. But the Rose Bowl says you have to air the band performances at.
It felt.
Whereas the Orange Bowl had Third Eye Blind at halftime.
Well, maybe it's not the case, but it felt as if Saban said, "I can't go
that
on."
is
and
that is
bash."
not the case.
Okay.
He just doesn't. He
He's
just
bashing
doesn't
Gave
them.
the
do-
appearance
Yeah,
of
he
that
just
to
doesn't
me.
do halftime and post game for those. Is the story.
I think he's been pretty. I mean, like before the games, he's always like Alabama's going to win this game, and then. But I think he's been pretty objective for the most part. I mean,
I've not paid enough attention to be able to tell you that. I don't know. A lot of everybody defaults back to like this is the national championship game should be at the Rose Bowl every year.
J.J. Watt said that. I know.
I mean, I said this earlier today on Twitter. I think Bill Plaschke wrote a column about it. I like the Rose Bowl too. I think it looks neat when the sun starts going down. It's one of the incredible visuals in all of sports. Like it really is an unbelievable thing, and that was why it was a bummer the weather wasn't so great yesterday because you lost a little bit of that as far as the visuals are concerned. I don't think that it requires you. It'd be like saying you should play the college basketball national championship at Hinkle Fieldhouse every year, or the Palestra every year, because it's the best venue.
You might be on to something.
Yeah, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I love those places. Like, they're incredible. It's so deeply. Apparently, the NBA is thinking about moving the NBA, the in-season thing, to have the final be at Cameron Indoor Stadium next year.
Yeah.
Which, like, go ahead and ask those players how excited they are for a trip to Durham, North Carolina. With all due respect to Durham, North Carolina.
You think they're trying now?
Which is a fine,
next
yeah,
year.
right. Which is a fine place. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to, but those players, again, that game doesn't actually count. It doesn't count.
There's an overthink on these things. Like, all of a sudden, when are they? Did I miss the hockey thing?
It's tonight.
It's in Miami
tonight. Yep.
I mean, that's crazy.
Oh, you're actually wrong. This is a very, because they've never done it before.
Right.
They are getting a ton of buzz for this one. They are getting a ton of buzz for the idea of doing.
How's the ice going to be?
They have the science is so they've done them in Southern California. They've done them in Texas.
All right.
Like, they have figured out the science for. That actually was a big storyline this week, though, was would they be able to open the roof or not for the Winter Classic? And apparently, the answer is yes. They are intending to open the roof,
and they can keep the ice.
And they can keep the ice.
Yes, icy.
Correct. They can keep it icy.
Because if it's not icy, it gets dicey.
And the tickets are outrageous for this.
Like
they ran into a problem because they were going back to some of the same places.
Right.
And the tickets started this year. You can't get in for less than $500 because they've just never done it there before. So it's a commodity for them to do it in Miami. Look, I used to love
the ice isn't icy.
Right. That will become. Dicey. It does become. They actually had a problem. They had a problem with that one year. Oh, it wasn't the ice, right? It was when they did the Lake Tahoe game.
Yeah.
The sun.
The sun was melting. It was freezing cold out, but the sun was beating right onto the ice.
And so they couldn't play the game until 2 a.m. or something. And it was insane how they handled it.
Stan, go ahead, take a look.
This is apparently what the Winter Classic looks like in Miami, courtesy of
just the NHL Twitter
account. NHL Twitter account.
Doesn't look like real ice.
Well, they haven't gotten to the ice. Now there's the ice.
There's the ice. Okay.
Yeah, that's the ice there in the middle of the infield.
Wow.
At what is that? Still Lone Depot Park?
I have to admit, it looks pretty icy.
It does look icy, doesn't it?
They're skating. Yeah.
And considering the Panthers have been very good, I think that they did earn the right to have one of these. So
all right, good for them.
I'll give them that.
Good for them. Is that available at live?
You can watch that tonight at Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel. Social. I if they wanted to move the national championship game back to the Saturday of AFC NFC championship game weekend and say every year we're going to play the national championship game on Saturday afternoon, 5:00 when the sun's going down at the Rose Bowl
on ice.
I don't think they're going to do that part. I'd be fine with it. I'd be like, that is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I kind of dig that. Now I also understand why they don't want to play their national championship game on a Saturday afternoon. It's just not going to be a big TV.
Right.
The way that playing it.
Out doing
correct. They don't want to do that. So.
And college basketball's taking
Where
over
is it
at
this year?
This year it's in Nashville, of all places. That's where they're playing the national championship game, which I think is a cool location for it. That's a cool spot. I'm kind of surprised they've never done a Super Bowl in Nashville. Now that it's such a popular destination town. That I'm surprised they've never gone out of their way. I guess when they build the new stadium, they'll probably get a Super Bowl there.
No question about it.
And maybe there was a hotel, because we always forget that Nashville is still a smaller market.
College football national championship?
Yeah, right?
No, it's Miami. It's Miami.
Is it Miami?
Yeah.
Is it next year in Nashville?
Maybe.
I could have sworn that I saw that they were doing a national championship in Nashville.
Next year apparently is Vegas. Is something else?
All right. Maybe I'm.
Nick Saban was in Nashville.
Oh, they're hosting the FCS National Championship game, is what I saw.
Monday night. That's Monday
on
night.
Monday night.
Okay.
My fault.
Same
they
thing.
should play one in Nashville. What are they doing? Play it in Nashville. It's a cool town. They got John A's. We can go hang out with Tommy Lasorda. Well,
he's passed
I
away.
Guess not now, but yeah, you get the point. Play a championship in Nashville.
It'll be, so Miami this year, then Allegiant Stadium, the Superdome in 28.
They should play one in Nashville.
Raymond James Stadium
But they're getting the real national championship.
And they're going back to Miami Gardens again, Hard Rock in 2030.
They're getting the FCS national championship. Illinois State, Montana State on Monday night, baby. That's actually the only Monday Night Football we get this year, or this week. So enjoy Illinois State, Montana State.
Prove to them that it.
We'll come back in. We'll talk a little bit about Stan did a video earlier this week talking about Zach Eflin with Ross and Luke. You can find that Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline, or PressBoxOnline.com/video. As always, Stan's shows are brought to you by the Costas Inn. Now with 2 locations, the OG, North Point Boulevard, where you can get steamed crabs and everything else that you love about the Costas Inn. At the new location in Timonium at the Grandstand, we love the Costas Inn. We'll talk baseball next. Glenn Clark Radio. Get in the game with Volo Sports. With over 15 sports to choose from, join a league or grab a Volo membership for discounted play, free daily pickups, fitness classes, and exclusive events. But the best part? A portion of every league fee helps the Volo Kids Foundation provide free sports to over 5,000 kids across Baltimore City each year. Don't miss out. Early pricing for the winter season ends December 12th. Final registration deadline is January 15th. Sign up now at volosports.com/Baltimore.
This January, go for the gold at Live Casino and enter to win the ultimate winter experience. Earn the entire month of January, and on Saturday, January 24th, you could be one of 25 lucky winners to take their place on the podium and win a share of $50,000 in prizes, including a trip to the 2026 Winter Games in Milano Cortina. Let the games begin at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Looking for Baltimore's premier waterfront dining experience? Head to Nick's Fish House, located in the Baltimore Peninsula. Enjoy crabs all year long, plus happy hour Monday through Thursday from 3 to 6. Planning a celebration? From rehearsal dinners to corporate crab feasts, Nick's is the spot to make it unforgettable. And the fun doesn't stop there. Live music fills the air every Thursday through Sunday. Check out the full lineup at nicksfishhouse.com. Nick's, it's where Baltimore comes to eat, drink, and play by the water.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCRs and continue along on a Friday edition of the program. Before we get out of here today, Max Starks is going to join us, Steelers color analyst. He'll preview the other side of Sunday night's matchups. John and Little Rock, the Big 12 is a power conference. Everyone spouts off like these conferences, and they lock out the ACC champ. Now, look, Miami can actually win it all. I mean, the ACC just didn't know how to crown a champion. Like, that's not. I don't know that anybody was even vehemently anti-Miami. I just think that we all thought it was insane that the ACC couldn't figure out how to make sure that Miami, their best team was in their championship game, which is nuts. Like, that's an ACC problem, but I don't think anybody was anti-Miami. No, the Big 12 and the ACC are not power conferences anymore. That doesn't mean they can't every now and then produce a team that's capable of winning. There's 2 power conferences. That we understand that. Like, they've shifted all the power. That doesn't mean that there's never going to be a team. Hell, Miami could win the national championship this year.
Well, forget conferences for a second, but Indiana as I wrote in my column talking about Coach Loxley and Coach Harbaugh, when I got to that excuse that, well, Maryland's just never going to be able to win, really at the highest levels.
Yeah.
I mean, Greg Cignetti, what he's done,
Cignetti,
is one of the most remarkable coaching feats.
But I think we have to make sure that we say that part of it, because I think it's very easy to say this is proof that anybody can do it. I don't think it's that at all. I think Curt Cignetti might be the greatest coach in the history of football.
Right.
And if you could get Curt Cignetti.
I'm not talking about Curt. I'm saying that Maryland could find somebody. I'm not talking about doing what Greg Cignetti's done,
It's Curt. It's Curt.
I think he might.
Kurt.
I might go. Maybe I'll change his name.
Mitchell.
How
about
Mitchell?
Mitchell.
I think you've made. There's a Boomer Esiason's morning show co-host is somehow. I think that's
Have I set the record for mistakes?
Yeah. No, it's all right. I just put the national championship game in Nashville. We all do it. It's like I said earlier. We're gonna all say some dumb things today. That's the way it's gonna go.
I haven't reached 20 yet.
Are we sure? Are we sure that you haven't reached 20 yet, Stan?
Still some show.
I do. I will tell you, I disagree. I don't think that what happened is at Indiana or any is attainable for Maryland. I don't think Maryland can do it.
Historically,
the university does not believe. The university does not do for football or really even for basketball.
Do you think Indiana? And hand me the paper for a second.
Yep.
Because I went back, I think, to the 50s.
Yeah, I know all of it. They hadn't won a bowl game in 40. I understand.
They hadn't had a coach who's had a winning career record
all
in Indiana going through the 50s. That included some people like Sam Weish.
I'm saying that
Lee Corso.
In talking to everyone that's been involved in the Maryland football program, their problems are internal as much as they are external.
Yeah, but they have a different person leading
the athletic department.
Right.
The school has not changed their philosophy in terms of what are we willing to bend on in order to benefit the athletic department.
So explain to me, what did they bend on? They just happened to pick the right guy.
That's the difference in getting to the highest level, is that Curt Cignetti might be the difference for them in getting to above level is that at Indiana, they won't say, no, you can't let this kid in.
Okay.
Maryland, that's something that stopped happening in decades ago. Schools stopped caring about.
Right.
Maryland never did.
Right.
Maryland would still say, we're not going to let you. This kid has to go to class. You have to have him here at this time.
What a horrible.
I know.
What a despicable
I know.
thing.
It's the type of stuff that we should sit back and say, well, we're not really angry about. But some of the stuff that we deal with is they have still chosen to say, our priority isn't just being good at football. And to say it's just about money, well, some of it's about money. And it's easy right now. I'll give you an example of something they're dealing with. A lot of people clowning Maryland about the fact that Roman Hemby is succeeding with Indiana. And here you just let it. This is proof that Mike Loxley can't coach. Mike Loxley didn't want to lose Roman Hemby. But what he said was, I have to spend money having a running back that's a quality but not, he's not a Heisman Trophy candidate running back, is not going to be the difference in whether or not this program can succeed moving forward.
He was in my college football franchise mode.
That's important. So what he said was, I'm not going to be able to match what you could get somewhere else. I'm not going to be able to spend the money that we're allowed to spend on Roman Hemby.
That's very different than what you were saying about.
Those are two different conversations, I agree, but they're both relevant. Maryland hasn't been able to match the money won, and they've simply had to choose to let good football players walk because of the resources they have, whereas Indiana has been given.
I think Jim Smith is going to usher in a very different.
I think it's possible that's the case. I think but there's still a limit to what resources there are. You can only spend the money that you can have. You can't create money at a place where there just isn't interest in spending money. And inherently, even Indiana is still more of a college sports location than this region is. This is not a region that cares about college sports. We wanted to. We desperately wanted to. And in doses, Maryland basketball has found some broad appeal in doses.
Yeah.
But that doesn't exist at the moment. There's no My God, Maryland basketball could play a game right now, right here, and we'd all say to ourselves, we got other things to do. Like,
well, in fairness, we did that, but they were playing Coppin State.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, but it's all part of it, right?
Yeah.
But part of it is also what Maryland basketball is. Like, they're not a brand that matters, unfortunately. I wish they were, but they're not. They're not a brand that has any actual appeal because they've never been able to sustain any amount of success or that would give them any actual appeal. They're in a very difficult place. And could it be done? I don't know.
I'm just saying the excuse that Maryland, that they need to keep Mike Locksley because they're never going to do better than what he's been able to accomplish. That, to me, and Maryland's not the only school like that. There's got to be another 20 schools like that are
Half
in
the Big
Maryland's
Ten, probably.
place.
Yeah, like the Minnesotas, Northwestern.
Boy, this is a really complicated conversation, right?
Rutgers.
I mean, suppose Maryland had hired...
Rutgers is the far... Maryland and Rutgers are two that are very unique. They are very unique in that those two, to me, will never have a... They can never... And Northwestern as well. Those three, the limited resources available and the way that the school... Rutgers actually has the advantage. The school would actually do a little bit more for Rutgers. They would bend more for Rutgers, but they just don't have... It's not a big enough school. It's not a place.
So what if one of those two schools had hired
Kurt Cignetti? I think they'd be more successful. I don't think they'd be competing for a national championship. I think that Kurt Cignetti is such a good coach that he absolutely would have made a Northwestern, a Rutgers, or a Maryland a team that could be relevant,
very relevant every year.
and compete and all of those things.
Playing in the Pop-Tart Bowl, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think I do. I mean, genuinely, I think that's about what they could do. I think it met a school that was dedicated to athletics, and had just never been able to figure it out on the football field, but was willing to, in the NIL era, say, you got it. Whatever you want, we're going to do it.
Right.
And those two things proved to be a perfect marriage at a place like that. I can never say anything's impossible, but knowing what I know about what you're up against at Maryland,
I agree. It's a very difficult needle to thread.
It's an even more difficult needle than it is. Like, just trying to say, well, they did it at Indiana, they could do it at Maryland. Kurt Cignetti couldn't do this. He could do better, no doubt that he would do better, because he might be the greatest coach in the history of football. He couldn't do this specifically at Maryland. And then there's still the where are you getting your offensive linemen from? It's one of the inherent advantages that you still have in the Midwest that you just don't have.
Remember, if
in
somebody
Mid-Atlantic.
came in that we truly believed in, and look, I like Mike Locksley. I think he throws a great barbecue. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
He's a terrific guy, and I think he has elevated the program. But the heavy lifting is done. Somebody has got to come in and change culture there.
Boy, that's can it be changed? I'm perpetually the guy that doesn't believe it can. And as we talked about, if they had fired Mike Locksley at the end of this year, I would have said I get it.
Yeah,
I totally understand.
No,
Do it.
I totally understand why they kept him.
But
how do we measure that with the fact that they are bringing in some of these recruits? They're bringing in the Malik Washington.
Yeah,
and the
it's what makes it very difficult, right? Like it's a very difficult measurement of.
And just because they're getting a Zion Ely or Malik Washington doesn't mean they're going to win 8 games.
Well, it's what we talked about with Zion Ely yesterday. Like the money, Maryland could have offered the exact same type of money to Zion Ely with a new coach, and he wouldn't have gone to Maryland. Like
Correct.
That part still matters. It's a very difficult part to figure out. Why do these guys love Mike Locksley so much? Why would they only play for him? But if it wasn't Mike Locksley, I would go to South Carolina, right? Like it doesn't, to you or I, that sounds crazy. Like, that's nuts. What is the Mike Locksley appeal? He's never won anything of significance. He hasn't really won anything in the last 2 years. Like, why is it that Zion Ely, you could offer, everything else could be the same. You could offer him the exact same amount of money, all the same circumstances. He's still from, Harford County. He still went to St. Francis, so he's still local.
But if you get the right guy that wins more games, you might not get Zion Ely,
but you might
better,
get
from Alabama.
you might get better players, and then you might get more fans juice to come to games.
Maybe.
Then there's more money. So it's a chicken and the egg
thing. But it's also the eternal who could you get?
Yeah.
Who is taking that job that they know is impossible? It's the difficult part. Like, nobody wants – Maryland has never hired a coach as qualified as Mike Locksley was. They had never done that in their history. They didn't hire –
No, they hired Bobby Ross.
Bobby Ross had success at lower – he hadn't had massive – at that point,
Right.
he didn't have the success that he would go on to have.
Right.
I'm saying at the time that they hired him, Randy Edsall is the most qualified coach that they've hired because he had at least won the Big East. But that was a LARF when the Big East was on the way out and the good programs had already left, and you could go 8-5 and win the Big East. He was the most qualified
Look
coach.
at Indiana. They hired Lee Corso.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That is a fact. He was a Maryland assistant, though.
I know.
Real quick, we got a couple minutes here before Max
Maybe
starts.
we should go back to that. Is how we let Lee Corso out the building.
Is that what you think the problem is? That ultimately?
No, the real problem is Bear Bryant.
Yeah, why we let Bear Bryant?
Yeah, why did we let Bear Bryant out of the building?
You know, we really go back. That's when everything went down. Bobby Ross, before arriving at Maryland, he had been obviously an assistant with the Chiefs, and his highest level of head coaching was at the Citadel. That's what Maryland has been able to hire in their history.
Right.
Is you can't get.
But it's the man, not the resume, because Bobby Ross was a hell of a coach.
Proved to be an incredible coach. There's no doubt about it. Get a good coach. I agree. I'm for that, but it's that, everybody this year. Well, you could just go hire the next Kurt Cignetti. Go get Bob Chesney at James Madison, who was inevitably going to take a better job than Maryland. He took the UCLA job because it was a better job than Maryland. It's a very difficult spot to be in.
Cignetti was at Alabama, right?
He had been an assistant there.
At
yes,
Alabama,
correct.
right.
Mm-hmm, 100%. All right.
Under Bear Bryant.
Yes, under Bear Bryant. No, that's the. I guess that's the bit is that all four coaches that are left were all at one point Nick Saban assistants. So.
That Saban guy's pretty good.
I mean, I've heard good things. I have heard good.
What do you think the Jets would pay Nick Saban to take that job?
I don't think that Nick Saban would want the Jets job.
No,
I don't think that Nick Saban.
Yeah, but the Giants job.
The Giants job, I think, would be very appealing to a lot of people, but I don't know if that would be what they would want. It is kind of crazy to me looking back on it that Kurt Cignetti went from being an assistant at Alabama to choosing to take the
Did he go to Elon?
No, he went to IUP after that.
Jeez. Towson beat one of Cignetti's Elon teams, by the way.
Oh, there you go.
Convincingly. 42-10, one of them.
So that proves that Rob Ambrose was a better coach than Kurt Cignetti.
Maybe
right?
is that who Maryland used?
Yeah, that's well, they tried that. They put him on staff.
So he went to Indiana,
Pennsylvania.
Yes. From
Alabama. Chose to. That to me that is an all-time betting on yourself moment, right? Like, you've got a job at Alabama.
So how
when
did
they're
he do?
humming.
What were his records at IUP?
He went. He did. It was 53-17 over 6 seasons at IUP.
So what's his overall record the last 9 years or 7 years?
He has 144-37 since 2011.
That's pretty good
as a head coach. Yeah, it's decent. It's very, except for that time he faced Towson. Yeah, never forget
That's
it.
right. Yeah, I think he did beat us toward, I guess, almost every time he was at JMU.
Yeah, probably. Really quick, Stan. So Zach Eflin is back. I don't think there's anybody that's opposed to Zach Eflin being back, certainly at the price that he's back. As long as that's not the end of the moves that the Orioles make pitching-wise, as long as they don't say, yep, we went and got 2 pitchers, that's that. I think everybody still agrees you still have to have a higher-end starter. Where do you think that takes them at this point? We know it's not going to be a Mai, as now he is off the table, headed to Houston.
Well, it's pretty amazing with the dollars that a Mai got. That clearly, to me, signals that Mike Elias never was really that interested in him.
I think the other interesting part is that the construct of the Mai deal is similar to the construct of the Michael King deal, which
basically gives them an out.
Every
it's
year. 3 one-year deals, which I keep coming back to. Isn't that the type of contract that the Orioles, we would have thought the Orioles would be interested in?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It leaves to me, there's 4 pitchers out there. I'm going to exclude Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander as sort of really, those would be moves that I think would infuriate me, as an Oriole fan. Okay.
Okay.
So there's 4 players left: Framber Valdez, Ranger Suarez, Lucas Giolito, and Zach Gallen. And of those players, if I can't get the top two, and I don't know, I'm expecting, they're 6 weeks away from spring training, so I'm expecting something to materialize in the next 10 to 14 days. That's my opinion how this is going to go. I don't think Mike Elias wants to go to spring training without that extra pitcher. I would be circling around Lucas Giolito an awful lot. Giolito at one time, when he was with the White Sox, was an extraordinary pitcher for a couple seasons. He missed all of 2024. He had I think it was a TJ revision done.
That sounds right.
Missed all of 24. Look at his numbers.
No, I know he was great last year.
He wasn't great the whole season. About May 20th, his earned run average was 6.7.
Right, but he still finished
his next
with
19 starts. His ERA was 2.6.
Right, and even with the slow start, he finished with a 3.4 ERA.
Right, that's my point.
Yeah,
as you look at his last 19 starts, you're almost in. You're close to like a Trevor Rogers type 19 starts. I mean, it's a run more, but we'd be happy to have Trevor Rogers at 3.3, 3.4. I'd be happy as hell to have Giolito win 14 games with a 3.4 ERA. And my point is, for 19 games last year, and here's the kicker, is what dollars are you talking about? With Framber Valdez, you're probably looking at 170 to 200.
Yeah, I think it's more on the higher end of that.
Yeah. Suarez, I'm going to guess, is like a 130, 145-ish. I think Giolito. I think you could get him for like 2 years, $44 million with a third-year option or opt-out after 2 years. But the third year would be maybe like a $6 million buyout and a $28, $29 million. So the total value would be in the $80 million for 3 years, something like that. Because look at the construct of the pitching staff they have now, Glenn. They've got Bradish, Tommy John surgery, Eflin. What's he has his back injury.
And the lat,
Boz, Tommy John. Giolito fits that, but if you get Valdez and you go 180, 200, and then he needs a TJ in a year.
That to me is the eternal problem with every pitcher.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
you have to be willing to do it. Like, you can't take yourself
But
out
I'm
of
saying
that.
I think you can get the quality, near quality.
Potentially. I still think that you're putting.
Look, I'm not going to be upset if you call me tonight and say, "Hey, they got Giolito." I'm going to jump for joy.
I would say I think it's a risk.
I'm saying if they got Valdez,
Framber Valdez, right?
I would jump for joy.
I think it's a risk worth taking on Giolito. But I don't. It's still. I have to acknowledge the risk that's involved, right? And that's part of the issue. Is I think that this offseason, if you're serious about contending for a title next year, required something more than just risks. And I think that's sort of where you're at. There's a lot of risks in this rotation at the moment. There's a lot of, you could look at, if it works out, if Trevor Rogers is something similar to what he was last year, if Zach Eflin can be something similar to what he was in 2024, if Kyle Bradish can pitch an entire season, you can do all those things and find yourself saying, hey, it could work out.
Yeah.
But I think it really did require you saying, and something that doesn't feel
Look, I don't think Mike Elias is doing what I'm saying. I don't think his number one target is Lucas Giolito.
Right.
I'm saying that's a great fallback if you don't get one of the other two. I've talked to enough people. I hear Zach Gallen is sort of, you watch him pitch, it's like watching getting a teeth pulled or something. It's like a lot of pitches, a lot of nibbling.
Yeah, I've never thought that Zach Allen was going to be the answer.
Yeah.
I am a little bit still surprised that we haven't started to see the trade market flush out more than it has.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's the part that's really interesting to me. Like, the Brewers can't really believe that, like, they can get Jackson Holiday for 1 year of Freddie Peralta. Like, there's got to be a reality to.
I'd much rather have Lucas Giolito locked up for 3 years than Freddie Peralta in 1 year, and then you got to.
Well, to me, that's dependent on the price, right? Like, if it's the Corbin Burns price, I'm not unwilling to pay the Corbin Burns price for 1 year of Freddie Peralta. But
they're not equal pitchers, you know.
I don't disagree with that either. I don't. But that price was fair. It's just an interesting. I'd still want to know more about.
I got to be honest with you. I watched Burns that whole year here, and there's no question you're going to win a lot more games than you're going to lose with him. I did not enjoy watching him pitch.
Burns?
I did not enjoy watching him pitch.
I definitely did. I absolutely
I
did.
thought there were so many wasted pitches.
Someone who never got to see Mike Mussina, it felt pretty freaking cool having Corbin Burns every fifth day.
I'm talking about Mike Mussina as a Hall of Fame pitcher. Corbin Burns, he'll have to really.
He's the closest I've seen to the Orioles having a Hall of Fame.
There's no question he was the best pitcher the Orioles have had since Mussina.
All right, Ravens-Steelers Sunday night in Pittsburgh, de facto AFC North Championship game. Our next guest, of course, will be on the call. He is Steelers color analyst and former offensive lineman Max Starks, and he is with us now here on GCR. Max, it's Glenn and Stan here in Baltimore. Happy New Year to you. Thank you for taking the time for us.
No, Happy New Year, fellas. Good to be on the airwaves.
Max, give me the definitive moment from your career. Like, what was the most Ravens-Steelers, not like the most enjoyable win, but like when people talk to you about Ravens-Steelers, what's the moment that you experienced in a Ravens-Steelers game that to you most defines Ravens-Steelers?
Oh, God. I mean, so many moments. I mean, we've had some epic battles. I think of the 08 championship game, just the physicality, the back-and-forth nature of that game. The Battle of Wills in that one. I think I look back to, like, 2000 and, what was it, 2008? And before that, the Haloti Nada and punching Ben Roethlisberger through his face mask type of look. Like, you think about, like, those, like, iconic moments. The helmet catch AB game in the playoffs that in Pittsburgh. I think of early on, my rookie year, Ben's rookie year. He getting his first regular season playing time.
That's right.
Yeah, going into that when Tommy Maddox gets knocked out of the game because the Ravens defense was flying around so hard back in 2004. Those are the kind of the thoughts that stick in my mind. A lot of different matchups, and guys, but, the consistent guys. I was calling the Miami-Ohio State game a couple of days ago and seeing Ray Lewis and Ed Reed down there on the field and just the immediate moments, right? That pop in your head going up against those guys. But, I mean, it's really one of those, like, I always say this, it's the most collegiate professional football game you're going to get in the NFL.
That's an interesting way to put it.
I would, it's funny, Max, because I feel like for a couple of years, and you referenced, after your playing time, like the AB game, like for a couple of years, it seemed like it got away from being the traditional Ravens-Steelers games, right? It was like games in the 30s and lots of points being scored. But I think what you just laid out is kind of what I feel like I'm expecting at this point. Like on Sunday night, I expect it to look a lot like Stan and I both joke that a 3.5-point line doesn't make any sense to us because we're like, we know what this is going to be. This is going to be a 3-point game. Like this is I think this is going to be a kind of a throwback Ravens-Steelers vibe.
Yeah, the first if anybody can get to 20, they're going to win this football game, right? It's just that's what it really feels like. I mean, both of these teams, injuries and how these teams are put together, predicated on a lot of run. Quarterback's going to make opportune plays. I think Lamar's kind of, because of the injury and the time missed, he just hasn't looked like quintessential Lamar Jackson, like running all over the place. He can still run. He can still evade. I mean, he's still Lamar Jackson. But the propensity to do that, I think, being more traditional, leaning on Derrick Henry to do that, where your tight ends have been so far this season has not been the best. Production out of that group now, Zay Flowers is a 1,000-yard receiver for you guys. Our passing game has been just spread out amongst everybody. If you're ineligible, you might get a pass every game. So, there hasn't been like a really number one, number two type of deal. So I think this comes back to how well the defenses play in the trenches and your offensive lines protect up front and who can run the football better. And that's really who's going to determine this type of football game. And, like I said, first to 20 is probably the person who's going to win. I used to say first team to get to 100 yards rushing was going to win. That's how the old rivalry used to be. But I think first team to 20 is where it's at. Like, if you get to 20, you're in a very good spot.
Max, Derrick Henry last week at his age, which is only 32. It's not like he's 37. But he ran the ball 35 or 36 times. Will his body pay for that this week? In other words, can he still be as dominant as he can be if he gets the opportunities?
That's where I don't think the opportunity will be there for him to run the ball 35 times in this game. No offense to Green Bay and their fans, their team,
right?
But their defense is not that great. So that was one where you knew you could take advantage of their defensive line. Once they lost Michael Parsons, they lost a lot of the teeth of what their defensive capabilities were as far as run stopping. I think the Steelers' defense is a little more adept at that. And, I looked to 2 years ago when Ravens came to Pittsburgh, and it was like, oh, man, this is going to be one. They're just going to force feed Derrick Henry, and he's just going to have this explosive game. They stopped using him after about the 13th or 14th carry that game. I'm not saying it's going to be that bad, but I think if Derrick is getting in the 20s, that's a really good number for him against us. I don't see him getting that low because I don't think the game will dictate the opportunity for him to do that, because that was a lot of the Ravens had gotten up early and you're trying to close out the game and trying to close out the time of possession, right? You're trying to chew up clock, trying to get out of the stadium, and the explosive plays were there in that game for him to do that. I don't see that type of production coming in this week because it just won't allow it the way the game's going to be played.
I wasn't projecting that he would run 35 times. I'm wondering whether his body will he not be up?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to.
So you're saying physically recover?
Yeah. Will he recover enough to
Yeah.
get, when he gets the opportunities, could he get 80 yards in this game?
I think he could get about 80. I don't think he'll break 100 in this one. I think because of that, like you said, the body just, I think they just did so much with him last week. That's one of those things where it's like, dude, we got this game in hand. Let's save you type of deal. And they're like, no, we're not going to save him.
Right, exactly.
Let him do what he does and let him go. But I think, when you get a 30-plus-year-old, running back, you hate to say that they age in dog years, but it does feel like dog years for a running back. When you say 30-year-old running back, like that's a lot of wear and tear on the body. And to go that late in the year and give him 35 carries, knowing that there's a big game coming up potentially that following week, is a little tough. And I get it, yes, there was an extra day because the game was played on Saturday, and the game's a Sunday night game, so you got a little more recovery.
Okay, good point.
But still traveling. It's not a home game. It's still a travel game. And 35 that's a lot of contact. That's a lot of battering on a car that already has a lot of miles on it. You don't want to try and put him into that situation because he's going to mentally think he's there, but physically you're probably going to have to pull him back a little bit because it is going to be rough. And we know these games are physical affairs anyways.
Yeah.
When Steelers Ravens play, so. Knowing that physicality, I probably would have pulled a little bit back last week, and I would have kept him under 30 touches because those extra 6 to 7 touches, was it really going to be a differentiator and how far ahead they were in the game against Green Bay? No, but the fact that you chose to do that, it's like, is that really the smartest way to?
They've blown a lot of
that's the problem.
Leads.
I hear you, Max, and I think you're right in general. But man, they didn't give it to him in New England, and we saw what, or against New England, and we saw what happened. Max Starks with us here on GCR. Max, the Steelers after that Bills game, like the narrative was they were dead, right? Like, and the fans were chanting "Fire Tomlin," and they run off 3 straight wins, including a really good win in Detroit, and then they go lay an egg last week in Cleveland. And so I guess my question is, how much of that was like this is how much it hurts them right now to not have DK Metcalf? Like, it really is that game changing for them. Or is that just the nature of the Steelers' struggle in Cleveland for whatever reason? Dismiss it. It has nothing to do with what they're going to look like on Sunday night.
We are 1-6-1 in Cleveland over the last
God, that's
8
unbelievable.
years.
Yeah.
Right? So, but yet we're virtually unstoppable and unbeatable when we play them in Pittsburgh. So I think that's just a nature of that team in that stadium and that location. For whatever reason, crazy things happen, right? We had the Snow Globe game last year, and Jameis Winston was their starting quarterback and beat us. I mean, it's like everything that seems to be like conventional becomes unconventional when we go to Cleveland to play. I just think that's what it was. Just like for a time for me when I played in Pittsburgh, we couldn't beat Cincinnati at home, and Cincinnati couldn't beat us at their home. Like, we both beat each other in each other's stadium. And it was like a 4-year span where we did that. So I just think it's just one of those just quirky, weird, trendy things that for whatever reason it doesn't work in our favor. Even if we play them first or second time, it doesn't matter. You go over there to First Energy, whatever it's called, stadium, and it's changed its name so many times. And they just can't perform in that stadium. So I think from that was the enigma of it. And Aaron was unconventionally kind of bad in that game. We went 3 of 15 on third downs, 0 for 3 on fourth down, so 3 of 18 in critical down situations that would keep the drive alive. Had some injuries sustained. I think that messed up the game plan a little bit. And I thought we got a little bit too fancy in moments. So I think it's always one of those things, just like the Buffalo game, how bad that was. It allows you to step back, silo, and kind of retool and figure who are we, what is our identity. I think that's what happened when we came down there to Baltimore, played Baltimore, got that victory, which then springboarded us to then have a good game against the Miami team that was red hot at that moment, reeled off 4 straight wins and was the top rushing team in the last month running the football. We're able to fight them and beat them pretty good. And then, like you said, it propelled you to go into Detroit and just have an excellent game. So I think it's just one of those things where they just there's something about Cleveland, and I feel like it's more of an aberration than the norm, especially when we look at how poorly we finished in the month of December just a year ago, and playing against you guys, right? Having those 3 games in 11 days just really sucked the life out of the Steelers, and we limped into the playoffs a year ago. I think that's where I feel like it's a little bit different from that type of version of the Steelers from a year ago.
What is the impact without DK though? Like what do you expect? Does it not matter because Calvin Austin's going to play and they'll be able to do enough downfield? Like how different is it this time without DK Metcalf on the field?
Well, I think we kind of got away from a lot of the run identity that we established over those 3 victories. In that Cleveland game. And I think probably getting back to that, Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell, just deploying them in a multitude of ways. And it's more so about the touches versus the actual rushes for those guys, because I think they're both very dynamic with the ball in their hands. They're just finding different ways to get the ball in their hands creatively and keep that split a little more balanced, because when we are winning, those guys are difference makers. Think about the Detroit game, right? I mean, Kenneth Gainwell comes up with arguably probably the catch of the year to end that first half. And Jalen Warren in the second half had 2 touchdown rushes of 45 yards apiece. So I kind of look at that, and those are the dynamic guys. If you're not going to have a DK Metcalf, those are the dynamic guys you're going to have to lean on. And I'm not saying that's going to be the vertical threat. I mean, Calvin, I feel like if he's healthy, if we get him back, is a guy that will give you the vertical threat that we don't have anywhere else. I mean, we have, you think about it, we have Adam Thielen, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and Scotty Miller, right? Our 3 receivers. And then, hopefully I would love to see if we could activate Roman Wilson. some way, somehow, to get him back involved, because I felt like the game that he did play this year had a pretty awesome game, had 2 touchdowns this year, but he's just been inconsistent about being in the lineup and being a healthy scratch in those moments. So, you can get a vertical threat from them, but I think this is where you want to see what the team is going to give you defensively in the Baltimore defense. I feel like, when I look at this team, obviously the strength of it is his linebacking core, so at second level, I feel like is the true strength of this team. And Kyle Van Noy's kind of been a guy, he hasn't practiced the last couple of games. I mean, so, what his status looks like come Sunday night is going to be key in the rushing and passing attempts type of deal, with what type of pass rush he can provide. Draymond Jones is probably your best, defensive rusher. He's the only one with, more than 5 sacks. Everybody else is less than 5 sacks on that defense. So, having Kyle Van Noy, having Draymond Jones is going to help somewhat, but the strength comes from Roquan Smith and company right there, that middle level. And then, of course, Kyle Hamilton, Malachi Starks on the back half are 2 strong guys. So really between the hashes of the center line of your defense is where your strength is. So working on the perimeters is going to be key, whether it's short or long game down the field.
Max, I've got 2 quick questions for you. Do you have a prediction in this game? Do you have a gut feeling that the Steelers will win out, or do you think the Ravens will take it?
I mean, I have a gut, and and I know it's going to sound biased, but I just don't feel biased. I feel like the Steelers are going to win this game.
Okay.
It's going to be a narrow, into the game type of heroics type of deal, but I feel like they are going to edge it just because I feel like their inconsistencies aren't as consistent as the inconsistencies of Baltimore this season overall.
I understand.
Like when I'm kind of taking snapshots into it, that's what, and that's just kind of what my gut feeling is going into this game. But it is going to be a tight game. This is no way. It's not one of those where it's like it's like I feel 60-40. It's like, no, I feel like 52-48. You know what I'm saying? It's more so today versus what I thought yesterday. Yesterday I wasn't feeling as good about it. But as I sat there and watched film and thought about it a little bit more, I do feel like there's a slight edge on the Steelers side.
All right.
With the consistency.
My last question, and then maybe Glenn wants to ask you something, but I've been wanting to ask somebody that played for Coach Cowher. When he retired, did you think we'd look 17 years, 18 years after that, and he'd never coach another game?
I am just as surprised as you. I thought for sure that at some point he would have came back into the game, just because he was such a passionate coach and he loved what he did so much.
Yeah.
I was really surprised that he had been. I was like, man, it's been that long, because we just had a Super Bowl 40 reunion. I saw BC, and I was like, Coach, man, it's been forever. He's like, I know, and we actually asked, like, hey, do you ever get that itch? He's like, I did for the first couple of years, but
now he doesn't have it at all.
It got really, he's like, it got really easy not to be worried about getting fired, being behind the camera. He was like, I was like, I got you. He's like, yeah. It's tough for me to lose my job at this level. It's a lot easier to lose it when you're still coaching.
Did you love playing for him?
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I did. I mean, he was the man that drafted me, and my first 3 years of my career, I mean, between him, his staff, and just the team that we had assembled, it made me really love football at the professional level. And I think that's what helped me propel me the next 7 years without him on my football journey, was because the first 3 years were so foundational and so formative, and my respect and my love for the game of football and the way that he went about his coaching, was just one of those things that was refreshing to have a former player as your head coach that understands, what it is to be in our shoes, and to have that type of, ability to relate and understand and have that kind of empathy that's needed at times within an organization and within a team structure. It was just really good to have that kind of foundational base with him.
Max, I'll wrap with this. Do you think that the result of Sunday night's football game should or will have anything to do with the future of either one of the head coaches involved?
I mean, I would like to think no, because there's such well-established coaches and what they mean to their respective organizations. I mean, you can't say John Harbaugh, right, without thinking Baltimore Ravens. And same thing with Mike Tomlin. I mean, both these coaches are well-respected, well-seasoned coaches, and I think it would take another bad year for either one of them to really move off of that position. And it would be very unexpected, I would say, from both of these franchises, just because I don't see a clear succession plan, and I'm looking at coaches around this league. I don't know who they would go after and pick if they were to get rid of those guys. It's different when you see like a bunch of young coaches that you feel like, okay, these guys are making that jump and they're ready to be a head coach, and you're looking at kind of assistants of other programs. I mean, both of these teams don't really have those young and rising stars underneath them as well. So I don't anticipate, in my gut, I don't anticipate it, but obviously we know the NFL must have its quarter of the coaches' available blood that is withdrawn from the coaching ranks every year. That is the turnover that's required.
That's the way it works.
But they're the two I don't think.
Max, you got more college football that you're doing, or is it just all eyes on Ravens Steelers now?
No, I got the Duke's Mayo Bowl tonight. I'm in Charlotte right now. Got Wake Forest, Mississippi State to finish off the non-CFP college bowl season here in Charlotte. So looking that, I'm trying my best not to upchuck once I see a coach doused in mayo after they win the game tonight.
Maryland won that bowl game a few years ago, and like an idiot, I agreed to do the same thing, and it's gross. I mean, it's just flatly gross.
I'm dying to have mayonnaise.
Nah, don't. It's awful. At Max Starks 78 is how you follow him. Max, really appreciate you taking the time for us, man. Thanks so much for doing this. Enjoy Sunday night, all right?
All right, my pleasure, guys. You take care. Have a good rest of your weekend. Weekend.
Yeah, right. Max Starks, Steelers color analyst with us here on GCR.
Good guess.
We'll come back in. We will get a tidbit. We will get Tubular to wind things down as we finish up for a Friday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Get in the game with Volo Sports. With over 15 sports to choose from, join a league or grab a Volo membership for discounted play, free daily pickups, fitness classes, and exclusive events. But the best part? A portion of every league fee helps the Volo Kids Foundation provide free sports to over 5,000 kids across Baltimore City each year. Don't miss out. Early pricing for the winter season ends December 12th. Final registration deadline is January 15th. Sign up now at volosports.com/Baltimore.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of PressBox is available now, and it's our annual Best of issue, celebrating the top people, performances, and moments of 2025 in local sports. On the cover, we recognize 4 of the most significant athletes of the year: Orioles pitcher Trevor Rogers, Navy quarterback Blake Horvath, Maryland basketball star Derek Queen, and our 2025 Mo Gabba Sports Person of the Year, Ravens safety Kyle Hamilton. PressBox is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region, including your Baltimore area High's dairy stores. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
This January, go for the gold at Live Casino and enter to win the ultimate winter experience. Earn Earn the entire month of January, and on Saturday, January 24th, you could be one of 25 lucky winners to take their place on the podium and win a share of $50,000 in prizes, including a trip to the 2026 Winter Games in Milano Cortina. Let the games begin at Live Casino. At Owings Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
We will have Project Game Day following Ravens Steelers Sunday night. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline, or just PressBoxOnline.com/Game Day. Myself, Rita, KZ, Stecca, Griffin, former Ravens linebacker Tyus Bowser. Whatever happens, whether it's the end of the road or we are previewing a wild card round matchup.
Josh?
It's really funny. Josh texted me immediately after the game on Saturday night,
Right.
The Packers game, and it was hilarious because what he texted me was exactly what we were discussing at the start of Project Game Day.
Right.
The exact topic we were discussing, which was, yes, you enjoyed that they won, but remember at the time we thought the Steelers were probably going to beat the Browns and it wasn't going to matter and the season was going to be over.
No, I was with Bo. I knew they were.
Yeah.
I knew Cleveland.
And it was just the frustration of where was this last week? Like, yeah, it's neat, but where the hell was this when you needed it? And I was like, Josh, that's exactly what we're talking about right now.
He was probably listening.
I think it was he was working, but he was working in like the Dominican or something like that.
I think he's been traveling. I don't think he's working right
Well, he had been working like crazy.
Yeah.
He had been working like nuts.
His new show starts Sunday night.
Starts Sunday night as a preview.
That's right.
On Fox. Best Medicine.
That's correct.
And airs Tuesday nights thereafter.
I didn't realize it was moving to Tuesday nights. I didn't know that part.
Well, January 6th it starts, but it's a special preview on Sunday night.
But yeah, we'll be together. It's all brought to you by 1-800-GAMBLER, helpmygamblingproblem.org, the Costa Inn, and Live Casino and Hotel. Tidbit is brought to you today by the print issue of PressBox. If you haven't picked it up yet, get to your Baltimore area High's dairy stores and pick up your free copy of the best of issue of PressBox. You can also read it online, PressBoxOnline.com, our annual best of issue celebrating the top people, performances, and moments of the year.
Derrick Henry, of course, now my thing doesn't want to load. But anyway, it was his 25th such game with over 100 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, tied for the most all time. 100 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns on the ground as well.
Earl Campbell.
No.
Emmitt Smith.
I think he might have been up there. Yeah, he's one behind.
How many other players?
Let's do the top 5.
Top 5? How about?
I might not be able to do it.
How about what's his name?
Adrian Peterson.
No,
Walter Payton.
Walter Payton.
Oh no.
Yeah, we might just have to abort the tidbit. Actually, I just don't have internet connection. I usually use this computer, and that one also doesn't work. Let me keep trying here. I don't think Walter Payton was on the list.
How about your phone?
I'm trying.
You know what? I've got something.
How about O.J. Simpson?
Not O.J.
I've got some. I tell you what. Don't worry about it. I'll just do it. I'll just do tidbit. What if I told you?
It's not fair. I had a good one.
What if I told you?
I'm not playing because
there is
I'm pissed off. Like
a current NFL head coach who finished his career,
John Harbaugh,
with more rushing yards than Bo Jackson.
Oh, I did see this.
What if I told you?
Go ahead, Ted.
What if I told you there's a current NFL head coach?
NFL coach.
Yes, who finished his career.
Kyle Shanahan.
It is not Kyle Shanahan. He did not have more rushing yards than Bo Jackson.
Dan Quinn.
It's not Dan Quinn.
Todd Bowles.
It's not Todd Bowles.
Raheem Morris.
Some of these guys didn't even play in the NFL.
Raheem Morris.
It's not Raheem Morris.
Dan Campbell.
It's not Dan Campbell, who was a tight end.
I thought he was a lineman.
He was sometimes, they get gadgety, especially back in Dan Campbell's day, I'm sure.
I'm trying to think who was a running back. He's a current
NFL head coach. Active NFL head coach. Not someone, and not like a replacement, not an interim coach. There have been a couple of those this year. A current NFL head coach.
He's got more yards than...
More career rushing yards.
I just need to see the teams.
Just Well, I would tell you that it's funny. NFL Films asked this question of some current NFL head coaches to see if they could get it, and they really struggled. Just no, not the whole thing. I don't think is necessary, but I think the first little bit here would be good, and then maybe we could skip. We could pause it and then skip forward to the part where you get the answer. NFL Films asked the current NFL head coaches, "Hey, do you know which one of your brethren finished with more career rushing yards than Bo Jackson?"
Which current head coach has more regular season rushing yards than Bo Jackson?
Current regular head
It's
coach?
John Harbaugh. You know him. He's
Has
the
more,
coach of
you
the
mean
Ravens.
in the NFL or in the NFL?
Bo had 2782. This coach has 5 yards more than that.
Oh my goodness, this is a great stat right here. Wow.
Yeah, Sean McDermott didn't
Hold
know.
on now.
Liam Cohen
It
struggling.
sure as hell isn't me.
Mike
that?
Vrabel knows. It's not Andy Reid. Didn't
All right,
finish
so I'm
with
going to
4
rip
yards.
through these conferences
Stan,
right
you're
now because this is
missing
going to piss me
the
off.
content here.
We have a
This
running
is-
back who's a head coach.
Oh, it can't be Campbell. It got to be, was there a quarterback? Can't be O'Connell. He never
Is
played,
there a quarterback?
really.
This is
O'Connell
going to get
didn't
me.
play.
It's
Is there a
big
quarterback?
box I'm trying to think outside of.
Oh, no.
It's not Mike McDaniel.
It's probably not Mike McDaniel.
Well, I tell you what, I know it's not Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, got that.
For a fact.
Which coach has more rushing
Carroll
yards
struggling
than
with it?
Bo Jackson as the
Yeah.
player?
Yeah.
Sean, Pete, Andy.
Who is it?
I'm losing my mind here.
Who is it?
Not brave is.
Yeah, everybody's struggling.
Did Sean
with it,
Payton
right?
somehow
I
made
think we
it?
can
No,
skip
good,
ahead
thank
to
God.
the reveal.
Dan?
I don't think we need to
Dan
just keep
Campbell?
watching this, but it's weird. It's weird. John Harbaugh didn't know the answer to the question. A couple of times he didn't know the answer to the question, which is weird that John Harbaugh didn't know the answer to the question, because the answer to the question is,
I don't know. Who is it?
No, I don't want you to tell me. Somebody, what division is West? The West. Jim. Oh my God, that's terrible. That is so bad. Because I'm going to tell you what.
Didn't you
most
say a
underrated
running
quarterback
back?
in
I didn't
NFL
say
history.
a running back.
Jim
I
Harbaugh.
just said he had more career rushing yards than Bo Jackson. And Jim Harbaugh had more career rushing yards.
When I looked at each
than
team,
Bo
I was
Jackson.
saying, I wonder if Jim Harbaugh, because he was the only. The rest of
More
the guys
career
wouldn't even
rushing
be in the
yards
rest.
than Bo Jackson did for Jim
Because
Harbaugh.
Bo Jackson only played like a year and a half or something like that.
Stan, you've got 3 of the top 5 because Henry's tied for first, Emmitt Smith is 3rd, and Walter Payton is 5th. 18 such games for Walter Payton.
Is Adrian Peterson on the list?
He is not.
Gail
He would be
Say-
6th. He would
Gail
be 6th on the
Sayers.
list.
Gail
No,
Sayers.
not Gail Sayers.
What about Frank Gore?
Not Frank Gore.
LaDainian Tomlinson.
LT is tied with Derrick Henry, 25 games of 100
Larry
yards,
Brown.
2 rushing touchdowns.
Larry Brown.
No Brown. No one named Brown.
So not Jim Brown.
No.
John Henry Johnson.
Really going back. Marshall
Was that
Faulk.
a president?
Marshall Faulk.
No. Marshall Faulk he's 11th.
How about the guy that was with the Bengals
Eric
and then
Dickerson,
went to the
was 8th, by the way.
Patriots? Who was a real
Corey
good one?
Dillon.
Corey Dillon.
Not Corey
How
Dillon.
about Marcus Allen?
Not Marcus Allen.
Curtis Martin.
Not Curtis Martin.
Thurman Thomas.
Not
Alan
Thurman
Amici.
Thomas.
Alan Amici.
Edgerrin James.
Not Edge.
Jerome Bettis.
No.
Fred Taylor.
No.
John Riggins.
Wait a second.
Not John Riggins.
Not John.
Fred Taylor, you said.
It's kind of the same, similar. I think, yeah. it'd be
Curtis
similar, right?
Dickey.
No.
Similar.
When did Fred Taylor play?
Eddie George?
No, not Eddie George. So I guess maybe a little after.
Jamal Lewis?
Not Jamal Lewis.
Lydell
Jamal
Mitchell.
Lewis.
Lydell Mitchell.
Chris Johnson?
Not Chris Johnson.
Maurice Jones-Drew?
Not MJD.
Who was the Doug Martin?
Not Doug Martin.
Tiki.
Not Curtis Martin either.
Tiki Barber?
No, not Tiki.
Who was the Bills runner? Thurman Thomas.
Not Thurman Thomas.
Wait, I said Thurman Thomas.
Excuse me.
Yeah, you should show some. Marshawn Lynch.
Not Marshawn Lynch.
Jim
right
Harbaugh.
City, though.
Jim Harbaugh.
Sean Alexander.
Sean Alexander.
Jim Harbaugh.
Not Jim Harbaugh. There you go. 100 yards, two rushing touchdown game.
Tubular is brought to you by County Sports Zone. CountySports.zone is the website to find out everything going on in high school hoops. Obviously, it's been a big week and a big couple of weeks for those tournaments that not only the Governor's Challenge, but other teams around the state competing in tournaments around the country. So go find out all the results at CountySports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Here's what's coming up tubular-wise this weekend. Navy in the Liberty Bowl this afternoon, 4:30 on ESPN. Peacock tonight for Oregon and Maryland basketball at 7:30. Will Maryland win a Big Ten game this year?
Yes.
Probably.
Yes.
Probably.
You want to put money down?
No.
$6?
I'm saying $6. Stands $6. I bet you stands $6. That Maryland wins a Big Ten game.
How am I doing in
I want Maryland winning.
How am I doing in the bowl thing?
You are in it.
I don't think anyone's doing good. I've been doing bad.
Griffin.
I had to take some
Griffin
swings
talks,
on New Year's Eve.
Griffin
and
talks
then,
a lot of S about. I know
Michigan
how to
should have
pick bowl
won, and then USC should have
There
won.
is a three-way tie for that, including your friend Troy at the moment.
Yeah.
They are all 26.
Not Troy.
and
PFF
13.
Sean.
Sorry, thank you.
Don't dox him.
That sounds like a fix. That sounds.
Oh,
like
you
a
think
fix.
that's what it is?
Yeah, Troy.
He doesn't win much.
Who the hell's Troy?
He needs this.
And how do we know
boy.
it's not you and
right.
Griffin, like
It's
on the
not.
side,
It's
picking
not.
games after the
Or
fact?
just somebody.
Yeah.
Trust me, if we could, I would find a way to do that. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's
I need
what's
to go
coming
like
up tonight.
perfect. I need to go perfect in everyone else.
Enough. No one cares. Tomorrow, ABC and ESPN. Panthers,
want a chance,
Buccaneers.
I have to pick
Shut up.
Rice.
Panthers, Buccaneers at 4:30. Seahawks, 49ers at 8. Towson's at home tomorrow night against Monmouth, and they need a win.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on
They
over
will.
there?
Return home.
6
It's a
o'clock
long-
tomorrow.
It's a weird early
on Monumental too. It ain't
season
good.
schedule.
Coppins at Delaware State tomorrow at 4. Lafayette's at Loyola at 5. Both of those on ESPN Plus. And on Sunday, of course, Ravens Steelers 8:20 on NBC. CBS has Colts Texans at 1. Commanders Eagles at 4:25. Fox has Cowboys Giants at 1. Lions Bears at 4:25. Boy, those are pretty nondescript TV games. Yuck. I know, but like the the teams that still have something to clinch, the Broncos, the Jaguars, like you would think those teams would be the teams that would be
On
on
Monday's
TV.
show, will you go over the playoff schedule?
Yeah, hopefully we'll know it by then. Big Ten Network on Sunday. Maryland, their women hosting the 20th anniversary game of the celebration of their national championship against Indiana on Sunday night, 6 o'clock on Big Ten Network. Everything else, find at glennclarkradio.com. Oh, the Winter Classic is tonight, as Stan brought up earlier, between the Rangers and Panthers, 8 o'clock on TNT and True TV. Non-sports.
I guess that's the unfortunate part is
You
that
just-
that
how about the thing we were just talking about?
Well, that's what I was going to mention. Yeah,
No.
I was going to say.
Well, you shook your
it's
head.
unfortunate that that the
Ravens
Ravens
game
played
is on at the
8
same
now.
time,
It's the
yeah.
same time as
Not
Josh's
great.
show. Yeah. Best
Sun-
medicine, the only thing. Yeah.
It's Sunday night on Fox. Is
At
when you
8
can
p.m.
watch that. Thanks to Stan the Fan. Thanks all. Are you doing a show on Monday?
Not sure yet.
Okay,
Not
depends on if the Orioles trade for Freddie Peralta or not. If they do, he's on. If not, forget it. If they get Lucas Giolito,
I hear
stands.
we're trying to get Cam Schlittler.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Okay.
I'd take him.
I take him.
Yeah.
I'd take him.
I'd take him.
But thank you to Stan. Thank you to Max Starks. Thank you to Bo. We'll get that up in the greatest hits section
I just
of the
reached 20.
It is the
20 what?
20 stupid.
Oh, stupid things. Yeah.
It is the season 18 premiere of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Tab at glennclarkradio.com. I thought they got rid of. Oh no, they got rid of the MTV Music channels. A lot of people talking about that.
Oh,
so
there were 2 MTV channels?
Everybody's saying that MTV died on New Year's Eve. It was only they had apparently specific music video channels that, like, if you had a certain cable package,
if you had DirecTV, and
yeah,
you had
you
1,000
could-
channels.
Yeah, you could watch
Happy
those.
New Year to both of you.
Thanks, Stan.
Thanks.
Thanks, buddy.
Love you guys.
Well,
love
yeah,
you guys.
Love's a strong word.
I like you a
right.
lot.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
you a
they're
lot.
Stan, I love you.
Willing to put up with you for.
I love Mitchell over here.
Oh, Mitchell.
Mitchell
Okay,
Bass.
Mitchell. Thanks, everybody
like
at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, Volo Sports, the Costas Inn, 1-800-GAMBLER, helpmygamblingproblem.org, countysports.zone, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com, Nick's Fish House, and more. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great weekend. Go Ravens. Go Navy. Go local hoops teams. Yeah, please, get a damn win. Duke sucks. We'll see you on Sunday night for Project Game Day.